Good evening and welcome to the special meeting of the Board of Education. Today is February 3rd, 2026. And can everybody please silence their cell phones and stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call is what it says that we're supposed to do first. I've never actually seen the roll call.
It always says that.
Does it? Good thing you're here, Katie. Okay, so now there's no public comment, I believe. Excellent. So we'll jump right into the meat and potatoes of the evening, which is to discuss the board goals. Everyone should have the PDF in front of them. And there is a chart that has our new Smarty goals drafted. So the first one is continue to enhance student achievement. The second one is community engagement and unity. The third is health and well-being. And the fourth category is fiscal responsibility. And if it's okay with everyone, because I believe everyone has already had a chance to see this. Yes, it was sent in October. I thought we could go through everyone's additions one at a time, and then if you have changes or want to discuss anything, we'll do that. Okay? All right. So did you want to go about it a different way, Dan?
Nope, that works.
Sorry, hold on, before we get started, the PDF doesn't have a goal 4 in it.
It doesn't have a what, Peter?
Goal 4.
Oh,
It only goes up to
I was
3.
reading across the top there, the chart. It should fiscal responsibility.
Yep, but if you scroll down,
Yeah, that's fine.
there's nothing there. Should it be?
No, nobody had anything to add, so we have to discuss it today.
Okay,
So
sorry,
What
thanks.
we think our goals around fiscal responsibility should
That
be.
kind of connects what I was gonna say, so.
Okay, so let's go through them one at a time and then we'll chime in. Okay, goal number 1, enhance student achievement. Somebody had started with the objective 1, which is to implement the New York State Portrait of a Graduate. And who broke it up into the Smarties for us? Because that was very helpful. I thought it was you, Rebecca, thank you. That was great because it was super abstract originally, and then this broke it up nicely. Do you want to read them then?
I mean, do you want me to read them out loud?
Yeah, jump
Okay.
in, thanks.
So this S is specific. So for implement the New York State Portrait of a Graduate, it was develop, implement, and monitor a district-wide plan to embed the New York State Portrait of a Graduate competencies, critical thinking, innovative problem-solving, ethical decision-making, communication, collaboration, and civic engagement, which I think are the clinical competencies. I did this a while ago.
Yes.
Into curriculum instruction, assessment, and school culture across all grade levels. The M, so the measurable, was by June 2026, each school will map Portrait of a Graduate competencies to at least 2 units per grade level or course. Increase the percentage of students demonstrating growth in at least 2 Portrait of a Graduate competencies by 10% annually, as measured by performance tasks, rubrics, or exhibitions. So I will be honest with you, like, I am not an educator, so I sort of made up these numbers.
Yeah.
But, it was just like sort of a
I was
starting
gonna
point.
ask if those came from the state because I didn't think they did at the time.
No.
Yeah.
I was curious.
So we'll probably have to move
Yeah,
those.
no,
Okay.
it was completely
Yes.
fictional.
Okay.
Yep,
In my head.
but I appreciate this. I appreciate the
Yeah.
structure of it, so,
Yeah.
but, right, I agree.
So the A is attainable. So utilize existing curriculum teams and professional development structures, leverage state guidance and sample rubrics, pilot in selected classrooms and scale district-wide. Relevant is the Portrait of the Graduate framework aligns with NYSED expectations and prepares students for college, career, and civic life through transferable skills that enhance overall achievement and engagement. And time-bound, so curriculum mapping, performance tasks in place by the fall, so that would be next, school year. Annual reporting to the BOE every June on progress toward district Portrait of Graduate implementation. And then I also, again, kind of without any major direction, but assigned a person responsible. That was one thing we talked about in our first goal meeting.
Yes.
Was making sure that there's someone who we can really point to. And given that this was so curriculum-based, it would be assigned to the superintendent of curriculum and instruction.
Yeah, I wondered if you came up with those. They make a lot of sense, but I
Yes.
didn't, but therefore I thought maybe they came from the state. So, well done. So any comments on that? And I do just want to, circle back. So these were supposed to be a 5-year strategic plan, so it's not like, in case anybody's joining us and they're thinking we're gonna try to accomplish this immediately. So any comments on that so far?
I think this looks great, but along with what Rebecca said, I would be curious to, even though this is like the board goals, hearing some feedback from Rachel on the measurable piece.
That's-
More
yeah.
because that's so much of what she looks at regularly. Just, kind of getting her feedback on what makes sense for the district, not just coming
Yeah.
directly from us.
The timeline,
Yeah.
what she thinks will work and et cetera, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Just want to say to that end, the portrait of the state was clear to make it not a drastic shift, that it's a gradual shift. Just looking at it here, students entering grade 9 in 2029, 2030 years when it's supposed to be implemented fully. Adopted this past July, but phased in by the summer of 2027. So to have the measure, I don't even know, and obviously Rachel will be better to weigh in on this, but I think the state is being very careful to designate specific numbers and goals to that extent, is my understanding. So, but again, I agree, Rachel will be better one for that.
Great.
I think I get the idea that the state is waiting a little bit for districts to implement on their own
Yeah.
before actually creating the numbers and in the specifics.
Well, and the district has already been working on some of the career tech ed pieces, and some of that and the finance pieces before this was even, so we,
Yeah.
she would have a better idea of
Yeah.
sharing with us where things are already at versus where we're looking to go, so.
I do have sort of a general question. So GTA, for example, at what point would they weigh in or,
On what specifically?
so.
On the goals?
And the goals. The first one in particular, because they'll be doing, they're the frontline workers, so to speak. They'll be implementing this. I think as a professional courtesy, we should,
Share it as a draft.
and ask them to weigh in, but is anyone opposed to that? Okay,
No, maybe there could be like a group of people,
cool.
like
Stakeholders.
stakeholders, K through 12, K-5, middle school, high school.
Great.
Rachel, not to give Rachel more work, but, I
Sorry,
think it's
Rachel.
definitely, and special ed teachers too, and E&L.
Okay.
Because, because they're, everybody's going to look different because we're all different.
How do you can't, I was just having this conversation, you can't create policy that works if you don't talk to the people involved.
Yeah.
Amen. I think that's what happens in
Yeah.
healthcare
Mhm.
a lot. Yeah, so, okay.
What if I ask a quick question?
No.
Or is it too soon? Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Amy.
I'm just looking at the way we have our 4 different categories, and I don't know if I'm way ahead, but for this specific one, continue to enhance student achievement, I don't know if we need all of those words in there. I was looking at other districts, and some of them just refer to as academic, purely by just academic, or, so I don't continue to enhance, I mean, do we need that? I understand that it's an ongoing idea, but just throwing it out there, I don't know if we need all of that in the category.
Well, it's not just academics.
That's the thing, yeah.
If it's student achievement, that's also,
You can take out continue too.
yeah.
I mean, if you
I'm
go
s-
down to goal 1, it says enhance student achievement
Yeah.
without continue to, I don't know if that's.
Yeah,
more
I'm just
something.
seeing in general, most of what I'm seeing around in other districts, it's usually like one theme that has, and it speaks to that 30,000 feet thing, right? So it's like, I've seen academic, character, community, one word for the category, and then from there, there's different levels of it. I mean, I'm not opposed to it this way, but just to kind of bring it to everyone's attention, it does seem to be more wordy than might be necessary for the category. If we are being specific in our objectives, then we may not need to be that broad in the title.
I sort of support taking out the continue to,
We could even take out enhance. I mean,
Yeah,
just student achievement.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we could also make a decision as we go through everything and then decide from there, like, once we actually talk about all the goals.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we can say, okay, maybe this encompasses this part and we can take some things out.
Yeah, sometimes less is more if you're trying to be overarching.
I mean, doesn't all of this go into portrait of a graduate? Couldn't we just rename it that?
The whole thing? Or you mean just this?
Just move it.
I don't know. What if we,
I mean,
you want to
every
go
single
through
one
the
of these is
objectives
part
and
of
then?
Portrait
see
of a
the-
graduate, right? Like,
Well, why don't we continue?
Yeah.
And then we'll circle back.
Yeah.
yeah.
Rebecca, you're doing such a great job. Did you want to do objective number 2?
Sure, I don't mind reading. So objective 2 is strengthen academic performance across all grade levels. So the S is specific, you improve student learning in ELA, math, and science across all schools. Measurable, you increase district-wide proficiency and mastery rates on New York State assessments. Now, and I know this could be controversial, by 3 to 5 percentage points. Again, this is where I just created, annually. Oh, I even said mixed feelings on this. Yeah. Attainable, we're using existing curriculum tools, intervention framework, professional development, and instructional teams. The R is relevant, so raising academic achievement supports district priorities and state accountability metrics. There should be a comma there, I'm sorry about that. Time-bound, target set annuals. It's inclusive and equitable by reducing achievement gaps between student groups by at least 10% over 2 years. And I do think we should have an actual number there, my personal opinion, but it doesn't have to be 10%. Through targeted supports and progress monitoring. And the person responsible, again, would be the assistant superintendent of curriculum and instruction.
Oh, boy, poor Rachel. Okay.
But I think this is probably, again, I haven't really looked at this in a little bit, but I think this is probably the more controversial of the objectives for this goal. But I do think our goal should be to strengthen academic performance. How we get there, we could respectfully disagree.
So any comments?
Are we talking about the 3 through 8 New York State assessments or regents also?
That's a great point, Tara. Yeah,
Because I know like my daughter never took the 3 through 8 assessments.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I just think there should be some objective measure. I mean, I'm not wedded to
Yeah.
the New York State test.
One of our previous goals, right, with, under SEMA was to sort of move away from testing. And so I'm wondering how this group in general feels about that.
I'm not opposed to it, but at the same time, we still have standards that we have to follow through the state. So that's where we kind of have the issue.
Not just that, but, as enrollment continues to decline, we're in competition for,
Word.
and with surrounding districts who continuously score better than we do. So, and in some metrics, right?
The metrics
So-
themselves are questionable sometimes, though.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm not going to debate that, but
Yeah.
we want to be an attractive option for families moving to the district.
So that does come up a lot, Dan.
Can I just say we are an
Yeah.
attractive option?
We are, no, absolutely.
And
Yes.
unless
Wanna
everyone is at
continue to be,
mastery or
yeah.
100% performance in anything, then we
Yeah.
always have work to do, right?
Sure.
So,
Right.
but I think we are an attractive option, but.
I mean, I
point
moved
taken,
here,
yeah.
so.
So I think the other challenge to that is as the Regents exams go away from being required,
Yeah.
that measurement's going to change according to whatever our framework is for Portrait of a Graduate and whatever pathways we offer within the district. So that also is going to change over time.
Okay,
So
yeah.
how is that measured or captured? I think it's important to have a goal, to have, a target of improvement. But as this Portrait of a Graduate unrolls and we continue down these pathways, it's going to be a scatter plot more than it is a straight line highway. So just something for us to kind of keep in mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, how we define what success is,
So
And how do you measure the improvement?
right?
I was just
It's
gonna
gonna,
say,
it's gonna be a challenge.
I think in addition to that challenge, if we just are somewhat keeping in mind also that the challenge that comes in is that some of these measures that we're talking about don't really reflect growth for some of our special learners. So like, how do we capture them in these objectives also. Just, if we're kind of keeping that in mind as we're looking at it, sometimes this, like the New York State tests aren't always an accurate measure of their growth. So just what that looks like through progress monitoring also. Maybe in that progress monitoring piece, if we include that, since, they would be having that through IEPs, then maybe some language related to that.
Should
So
we break
Katie,
out those, sorry.
I'm so sorry.
No, no, no.
I did include special education separately under objective 4.
Oh, yeah, you
Just
did.
FYI.
Yes, I saw that, yeah.
But I
But
totally
for-
take your
yeah.
point.
That makes sense. I was just looking at, like, for thinking for this one with the, like, for the regular curriculum, just sometimes it's more challenging to figure out how we're going to measure that for them, but.
Sure.
Where are we putting alternative pathways?
Well, so objective 3 is expanding access to rigorous learning opportunities.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we can certainly expand that out to include more.
Yep.
This is like, because
I
this is
think
not a
that's-
gospel, guys. This is
right.
really like a framework.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is
right. No, it's great. I
Yeah, no, it's
appreciate
great.
that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's,
Gives us
That's very
good
good.
structure.
I actually think, so for me, I think objective 2, everything is great. Maybe we need to just revisit the measurable, but maybe it would be good for Rachel to weigh in on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we have the group of stakeholders already weighing in on the other objective, that this would be a
Perfect.
natural enhancement to just get some
Great.
feedback from them as well. They may have some
Absolutely.
very
Awesome.
important ideas that can help guide that for us.
Did we pay the heating bill? It is chilly in here.
Along those lines, according to some guidance documents on the NICEAD website for school boards in terms of portrait or graduate, there's a PDF on that website for school boards, and it says student performance, adopt policies that require varied strategies to assess student achievement and progress in the attributes of the portrait. Formative, interim, and summative strategies can include performance tasks, portfolios, projects, and presentations of learning. So I would just ask that as those conversations occur, that those are items that are
They
kept in
refer back
mind and referred back to us for how we might be able to incorporate those into what we're going to measure and as a board.
Yeah, there's like a whole service learning component that goes along with some of that
Yeah.
performance-based task. So,
Right.
to your point there.
Right. And then that allows the flexibility between what measures may be more prevalent now and what measures will be in the future, so that we don't have to revisit a particular part of this,
Right.
and allows the flexibility to continue.
Yeah.
But I think the strength in academic performance across all grade levels, like I think it's a good starting point to see where we move forward, because we have the other pieces to continue.
Great. Any other comments on 2, or did you want to continue to 3, Rebecca?
Sure. Great. Objective 3, expand access to rigorous learning opportunities. As specific, broaden equitable access to advanced honors, AP, dual enrollment, and CTE programs. Measurable, increase enrollment of historically underrepresented groups by 10% over 2 years. Attainable, leverage counselor outreach, consider a change in the invitation process at middle school, and family engagement, or better family engagement. Relevant, advances coursework, improves college and career readiness. Time-bound, annual data review, there's a lot of those with mid-year checks. Inclusive, equitable, remove barriers such as prerequisites, scheduling conflicts, and inconsistent teacher recommendations. And the person responsible would be the assistant superintendent of curriculum, along with input from the DEI director.
I really liked that one. I liked,
Yeah.
especially the invitation part, and the fact that you put in the DEI director also. Love that.
And included CTE as a rigorous learning opportunity.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that one when I was looking.
I do have a question. Just knowing the amount of parents over the last few years that have like come up during the time that all of this comes up, the increased enrollment, are we going to be able to have the room, like, because we're not going
Oh,
to
like
get
an
rid of what we
honors.
have now, with the idea is to actually expand it to offering. So are we going to have issue with like the teachers and things like that, and room and scheduling?
Well, I think we'll probably, Rachel and the GTA and the stakeholder group could address that. Can you write that down for them? That's a good point, Kim.
And the counselor outreach, I'm always for that. However, our counselors are overextended to begin with, like the 1 to 250 rule. We've kind of just stomped on that. So is that something that we would look at even increasing our counselors to help with this?
Is that a strategy that a community school could help with? Or is this just different because it's academic?
I think it's different because it's.
Okay.
Yeah.
academic.
Okay.
Yeah, and totally agree with you, Kim. But now, with my first child, well, she's my middle child, but the first time I'm going through the college application process, these guidance counselors like work to the bone. And they're
Yes.
doing all these extra things on top
Yeah.
of their regular load.
Like, I'm so not opposed to this, I just want to make that clear. If I didn't,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we have the resources to back it while doing this.
Maybe guidance, we should have guidance counselor.
Yeah.
A stakeholder.
Guidance, counselors,
Professional
counselors.
school counselors.
School counselors.
They don't like to be called
Yes.
guidance.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
School-
school
school
counselors.
School counselors.
I just call her Amy Knapp, but okay.
I'd like to see, this is kind of a objective 3 and goal 2, objective 1. I'd like to see us expand service opportunities. Like, this is something that Governor Hochul has tried to advance in the last few years. It was housed under the lieutenant governor. There's some things that happened there, but they're trying to expand into high schools. They have New York serves, and I'd like to look and see where that goes and how we could maybe bring, are you smiling because you know what I'm alluding to?
Yes, I'm sorry. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so Serve New York. So,
Yes.
yeah, actually, I'm a member of the, what is it called? The Medical Reserve Corps. And an example of something that came out from that is now kids can participate, high school students.
Yep.
But we need two things to happen. Albany County needs to be in agreement, Albany County DOH and a high school. They need to
Okay.
work together to do that. But I think they start like a club. We would have to get students to approve the club. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would like to add that. Yeah, I can find out. That's my day job.
Did
All
you
right.
want to keep going, Rebecca? Because
Sure.
you've got the gusto today. Thank you.
Objective 4 is improve the quality, consistency, and inclusivity of special education services. Specific, enhance the instructional, social, emotional, and transition-related experiences of students with disabilities by improving IEP quality, strengthening inclusive practices, expanding access to coursework, and increasing collaboration between general and special education staff. Measurable, increase the percentage of high school students with disabilities meeting annual IEP goals by 10% each year. Improve family satisfaction via survey with high school special education supports by 15% over 2 years. Attainable, leveraging current special education leadership, school psychologists, related service providers, and general education partners. Use existing professional development time and state federal guidance on the least restrictive environment and specially designed instruction. Relevant, improving outcomes for students with disabilities aligns with IDA requirements, NYSED accountability measures, equity commitments, and district priorities for inclusive, high-quality educational experiences. Time-bound, conduct a high school-specific special education program audit by May of 2026. That's going to be tight. Review progress quarterly with building and district leadership, and report annually to the BOE. Inclusive and equitable, ensure that students with disabilities have equitable access to rigorous coursework, extracurricular opportunities, transition planning, and supports tailored to their cultural, linguistic, and learning needs. And the person responsible would be the director for pupil personal services. So my personal goal here is, and I think unfortunately the objective sort of fits that, is the high school experience and transition from high school. But, I mean, we can certainly change things on here.
Yeah, that speaks to the
I-
parents that came from the
It
middle
would
needs to start earlier.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
was
really?
thinking too. I think that by that point, I think it would, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was thinking that also, like aligning it with when transition services would have to begin earlier, like
Yeah.
middle school level maybe.
Because by high school, I mean, not to go through like full detail, but if you're in a district and you're just starting out, you start out with the CPSE to CSE and you're fighting just to prove that your kid actually has something that they have to do, then you essentially are forced to waste time for first and second grade, maybe third grade until they find that there's an issue, because third grade is the sweet spot that
Right.
usually things pop out. Then they push it up to the middle school, then the middle school tries to strip everything down, and then by the high school, it's just too late. And they're doing a great job at the high school, but realistically, that's not the experience that families have.
It's almost like we need a family navigator through the whole curriculum.
Oh, like a patient navigator, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
We add this, I like this.
That would go along with kind of a community school model.
I was curious that you didn't add the director of DEI to that one. I just,
I mean, we could certainly add him or her. you know.
and, yeah, the May is a little soon now, but I've, for the past couple years, I know I'm not alone, some of us have wanted to audit, you know, the special ed programming, so I think making it a goal is a good idea.
I think also, and I'm sorry, because of course I'm going to have 7 million comments on this one section, but enhancing, like improving the IEP quality, I strongly believe that our full staff needs refreshers and training on what the policies are and the laws are and what are allowed, what is allowed, and what is least restrictive environment. Because, I mean, improving, I, as a parent of a student with a disability that went through this district, as two, actually, this made me cringe.
This made you cringe, or?
Just the improving IEP quality.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, okay.
not the whole thing, because first of all, it should be the best of the best when you go through the CSE meeting to begin with, because that's the goal, is to help our kids get everything. So I would definitely, I'm all for improving the IEP quality, but I believe that starts with the training of the staff, the CSE chairs, actually even the director for pupil personnel services. Everyone across the board needs another refresher training of what's actually policy, allowed, not allowed, how you speak to parents, what they're going through.
So we
Like,
could
I-
add professional development as something to
Without
consider.
question, and I'm saying this as now not, I'm saying this as someone, like, we're talking about what we need to do to achieve these goals. I genuinely believe that it's been way too long since some of our special education staff that creates these IEPs has sat with a parent and knows what that family goes through or what their day-to-day is like. They get in their car and they go home. And it's very difficult. I love everything else. The high school students with disabilities, like the annual IEP goals, that kind of goes in with the improving the IEP quality. That has to be there, and they have to be realistic goals. Because a lot of times, the goals are not even realistic, to where it's something that's just going to be checked, and if you've already achieved that goal, then another goal should be set at that next meeting. A meeting should be called. It shouldn't be sat on the rest of the year. So, I mean, we're talking about all students. This is what our students with disabilities need as well.
Nina, it looked like you wanted to say something, or Peter?
Go ahead.
I just
Sorry.
saw a hand this way.
I know I hogged a lot of.
No, because
You're okay.
I've thoughts and questions for you too, to help me through this. I'm trying to think if this is a measurable or specific. Is there a way to somehow put in documentation, follow through? Because oftentimes things aren't followed up with, and there's data provided, but the data is not necessarily implemented in appropriate ways to be effective for students and families. I don't know which category that would fall under, but I feel like some kind of a way to make sure that
What are you specifically asking for data on?
I'm asking to make sure that when data is collected and decisions are made, there's follow-through that's done that follows guidelines. So I don't know where that would go, but just to make sure that, all of the proper procedures are followed for data collection, follow through.
You're like progress monitoring data, you mean?
Yeah.
Student data, is that what you're referring to? Like IEP? So you're talking about actual compliance with an IEP?
Even before the IP is created, just the process, the CSE process. I don't know,
Well, it goes along with
So-
improving the IEP quality, using all data.
I guess my question is not that I disagree with your concern, but with department compliance with IEP, does that fall under a goal for us specifically, or is that something that falls
That's
to
what
like
I'm,
you or like your department? Like, if
Yeah.
there was a
Right.
concern of compliance with CSE and IEP compliance, I mean, that would, to me, seem something like that would be
Right, that's
your monitoring more than
Yeah, I don't know if
initially
that's a
specifically the
board.
Yes.
board
Yeah.
monitoring, obviously, and then if you had an issue with it, you bring it to us and we, or if it became
Right.
like an issue, right? But I don't, like, that's not reported out to us directly first, right?
I think, right. But to your point, I think, to everybody's point, actually, if we do an audit, right, it'll
Yeah.
give us the information we need, and then if any follow-up needs to take place,
Yeah.
as you said, it would be Dan. Did you want to add anything, Dan?
No, I think it's more appropriate at the building district level,
yeah.
the monitoring of that process and ensuring that it happens the way that it should.
And at the end of the day, though, it does fall on the board because we are the ones that hear from the families when things aren't working out, and then it kind of falls by the wayside. So it really is a board issue too, because, I mean,
I think standards and procedures are something that would be specific to follow.
policies.
So I have two questions. One, when writing this, how did you define special education?
So I wrote it in my head and not an
Right.
educator.
So,
So there was no like dictionary.
right, so
definition.
I don't. Gifted education falls under this umbrella. And so we need to consider that. Also, and that's, some of that may be very different than what's in here, and that's fine. We can figure out, but the other is a kind of a question. For board goals oversee and guide the district as a whole, yes?
Correct.
So would it be helpful if, like, we're going to go through this, obviously, but would it be most helpful in this process to, when you go back to the stakeholders, the other stakeholders, to show them this and have them come up with how they, some of the measurements and some of the things that they could do. So if we said to them, Objective 4 is going to, under this title, is to improve the quality, consistency, inclusivity of special education services. Okay, you tell us some of the things that you can do to meet that objective, right? Because do we have space? Do we have resources? What's the bandwidth? What are the measurements already in place? What are the future resources going to be needed? What's already being worked on that we don't know about as a board, because that's the day-to-day, the details, right? How much of that conversation would be helpful for them to help? Is that the plan, I guess? For
Yes.
us to get this evening to say, this is a framework, this is a goal, this is what we've come up with, this is a starting point. Stakeholders, now you weigh in and see within this framework, what do you see, how do you see, et cetera, so that we can continue to move forward.
Yeah, I think we definitely obviously want feedback from the key stakeholders, but I also think, to your point, that's all the information that would be captured in an audit. And Blanc, I think you brought up that we've been talking about an audit now for the special ed program for a while. And even just a presentation like Dave made about the athletics program, I think something like a broad overview would answer some of those questions.
Yeah.
And would be helpful. And as opposed to, one person or two people telling us what they want, then they would be presenting us the information so that we could hone in on this a little bit better. I think that might be more meaningful.
I agree.
And some of what you're asking for, and Kim can weigh in on this with me, but I sat in the building, team meetings for Pine Bush, so I can only mostly speak to how Chris and Sunita ran it, but I'm assuming it's probably very similar. We took the board goals, and as a building, at times we would go through like, how is this building going to report out, what they were doing to work towards responding to the board goals. So some of that information that you're talking about looking for, they take our goals and then later, like, report out how they're going to measure and meet and report to the board and to the superintendent on what they're doing to work towards the goals of the district. Like, it kind of was like the next step for them, but, once we got in, and that's like a lot, if we weren't working on a mission statement, we were working on responding to the board goals.
That's a whole,
But yes.
yeah, and I can speak for Pine Bush at the time and in Farnsworth currently, where we we look at the goals of the district, and then we branch from there, and we create the goals of each building, and then we have the data from there, where we go out and we say, okay, this is what we're looking for, and this is what we're gonna work on. So it's an extension of what we're doing here.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yes, thank you. You're doing great.
So we're on to goal number 2. Enhance community engagement. And I guess if we're getting rid of enhance, we should just get rid of enhance.
Community
Yeah.
engagement.
Yeah.
Objective 1 is strengthen community school partnerships to support students and families. Specific, implement a district-wide community school approach that integrates academics, health and mental health services, youth development and family engagement by strengthening partnerships with local organizations, municipalities, and service providers. Measurable, increase the number of active community partnerships by 25% over 2 years. Ensure that each school has at least one new annual family engagement event co-designed with community partners. Increase utilization of school-based community services by 15% annually. Conduct an annual community engagement survey with an improvement target of 10% in participation and satisfaction. Attainable, use existing family engagement staff, counselors, social workers, community partners, PTA networks, and local agencies that already collaborate with the district. Relevant, a strong community school model increases student belonging, attendance, wellness, and academic outcomes while strengthening trust between the district and families. Time-bound, community school strategic plan developed by July 2026. Implementation begins fall 2026. Annual BOE report on progress and partnership metrics. Inclusive and equitable, services will be culturally responsive, accessible in multiple languages, and intentionally targeted to support families from underserved groups. Person responsible. I think a lot of people are gonna have to be responsible.
Yeah.
We definitely need to reach out to our current community partners to see what they're doing, because even something like the new annual family engagement events, we have those. So it's being done right now through community partners. But yeah, just, I think a good place to start would be just sending something out to see what each school is currently doing with community partnerships.
And this would also be, I mean, we would have to hire a community school coordinator. And the community school coordinator
Well-
would be the one in charge of
That's a,
kind of
that's
all
a
of it.
thing, like I am all for community school, but the strategic plan for this implementation in fall 2026, is that even feasible during this budget year?
No.
Like, because we want to do it the right way.
Right,
But we need
I
to also
agree.
make sure that we're doing it, like, we have everything down when we go for that.
And there's aspects that we can do now without that, right? Like we have, you were saying, resources that can already accommodate some of these without the full community school, for the time being at least, right?
Right. Like, we already have people who are working with carrying closet, and so, people who
Right.
are already
But I-
doing some of this work, but yeah, we do need to
But I'm thinking we
expand.
need that one person, who's going to be that one contact that we can go to.
I guess my question is, how does the board make the decision for the community school?
I was
Like,
gonna say, I
that's
don't
the
know that
part
we've
that
made
I'm,
that decision.
that's the part
No,
that
we haven't
I'm
made, right.
struggling with.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I have thought, I think we should first figure out what exactly is already happening in the school.
Yeah.
That a community school addition would be separate from, or the value it would bring on top of what we are currently doing. Because I think right now,
Great.
there's probably not a cohesive
There's
thought
not.
out there on what we're currently doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So before we
Right.
continue down the road of making the decision, let's have a program presentation at a board meeting that includes, here are the services that are already happening in
doing.
some way, shape, or form within the district to give a better understanding for what the current status is, and then what that community service exploration would bring to the services that we already have in place with our community partners primarily.
Sounds great, I think. Great, great.
This might need, like we were just talking about, it really needs to be broken down into almost a needs assessment. And then those various steps that, again, if we're looking at 5 years, that might even be pretty quick.
Are you talking about, I'm sorry, the goal, or are you talking about the community school?
I'm talking about objective 1.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly, right. We need to do a needs assessment.
Right.
So, Rebecca, for objective 1, when you wrote strengthen community school partnerships, was that thinking that we're moving in the direction of a community school, or am I misinterpreting?
I was thinking but I agree with you, we haven't decided we're moving in
Okay.
that
Right.
direction, but,
Right,
you
so
know,
maybe just,
again, it was my brain.
maybe just
No, I
community
like your brain.
partnerships.
Take out the word school.
Right.
Yeah, take out
Your
school.
brain is where we all are.
Yeah, same.
So objective 2 is my favorite.
Okay.
In fact, before you get there,
So-
I would take the stance that it really should be objective 1.
Objective 2 should be objective 1?
Yes.
Okay, I see it.
Let's-
Oh, yeah.
Let's switch them, Peter. Let's make it objective 1.
Let's do it. And, Kelly Person, if you're watching, this is your favorite.
Expand access to high-quality universal preschool. Specific increases access to high-quality universal preschool by expanding seats, improving program quality, and strengthening outreach to families to ensure all eligible children have access to early learning. Measurable increased district UPK enrollment to at least 90% of eligible 4-year-olds. It's actually probably lofty.
Yes.
By 2027. Expand the number of UPK seats by embedding a program in an existing district site.
Big reach. I like that.
I
Oh,
like
there
that.
might be room, there may
I
be
like
room
it.
somewhere, yeah.
Increase family awareness events and UPK application engagement by 20% annually. Attainable, utilize state UPK funding, existing community providers, district instructional supports, and family engagement networks. Relevant, high-quality preschool improves kindergarten readiness, literacy, numeracy, and long-term academic and social outcomes, which directly advances student achievement and community trust. Time-bound UPK expansion plan complete by fall 2027. Annual reports to the BOE. Inclusive, equitable, ensure equitable access for bilingual learners, children with disabilities, low-income families, and children experiencing housing instability. Provide multilingual outreach, culturally responsive curriculum expectations, and supports for families navigating the enrollment process. Just that last part, supports for families navigating the enrollment process, again, not an educator, but a pediatrician, having families navigate what you talked about, the transition from early intervention to CPSE is painful and very confusing for even the most highly educated of families who speak English. It's much, much harder for our at-risk families.
Yes.
So the person responsible is all DOT leadership.
And when the stakeholders review this, things like the percentages, the goals, you know, the markers that you have here, the timeline, things like that, we would appreciate some input on those.
That goes to Rachel again, poor Rachel.
Oh, Rachel.
Rachel.
One thing-
UPK,
Oh, go ahead.
UPK, depending on the budget process in New York State, has been said to fund all seats that are requested. The issue is finding providers and locations
Yep.
to
we're down one.
flush out the rest of the seats for every student that wants a seat.
Yes.
So the governor has proposed in the budget that they will increase and combine all of the UPK seats into $10,000 a seat, or whatever your foundation aid per student is, whichever one's higher. The strings attached to it is in the 27-28, you have to have a seat for every family that comes and wants a seat. So for us, all of our organizations are community-based partners right now, and many of them do not have the capacity to expand, to add the seats that we need. we potentially would have to look around the district to see if we had available classrooms in different buildings to see if that could, but it's a bigger task to make that determination. But that's sort of where it's headed currently. Obviously, we don't have a budget yet for next year, but that's where
Right.
it's kind of headed, is here's the money, but there are definitely strings attached. So
But I
the
think
challenge is
that- sorry.
providers, that's okay, sorry. Just the challenge will be if everyone is doing this and everyone's looking for providers at the
Oh,
same time.
Good point.
That's the concern, is being able to
Well, there's
actually
other
staff
elements,
it, is the biggest concern
Like
right now.
some
but
providers drop out.
Yeah.
Potentially.
And
Yeah.
Right,
and they get less money per individual student, right? 10,000 does not cover the cost
Right.
of each student.
And right now, it's not 10,000 for every seat currently.
Yeah.
right.
Some are less than that, depending on what UPK grant you are part of.
Yeah, I actually had a
So-
complaint from a UPK parent recently. It got resolved, so I haven't brought it to you guys because it's resolved. But they didn't have a hand washing station. They had to go up 2 flights of stairs to go hand wash. There's only one teacher. Like, it was very dramatic. We had a whole discussion on first steps, next steps, et cetera. And then magically, a portable sink appeared in the classroom, I think because they knew that she had called me. But, I mean, there are so many issues with UPK. My biggest concern is spacing. Like, how are we gonna do this? We have to figure it out. We've talked about, as we see decreased enrollment, are we gonna be able to utilize classrooms? What are the insurance costs for that? How is it separate from district funds? Because UPK funds are completely separate from state funds. We have no idea what the governor is proposing yet. So until we have a clearer picture, I think this is important and we need to move forward with it, but we have no idea what the funding is gonna look like.
Right, but so can we create, like, I don't know what you call it, task force, research, see, are there certain buildings where the enrollment is going down? Are there empty spaces in some buildings?
I think we need to just do an initial
Yeah, like-
cursory look
right,
first.
that's what I mean, like an initial
Because most of
look
those spaces are
first.
currently being utilized
Yeah.
for something in their building.
Right.
We don't have vacant rooms sitting vacant.
Right, oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, I know, I'm not
They are
saying
being used
that.
for something,
Yeah.
but we can do a cursory
Yeah.
glance
just
as
to
a
see.
district and see if we,
Right.
so we're sort of starting that conversation, but considering
Okay.
it just came from the governor's
Yeah.
proposal, we've started an initial conversation of things that we do need to look at as this expands, potentially moving forward. So we are actually starting that point to figure out, is there any space
Mm-hmm. Okay.
that
All
we
right.
could repurpose for this
For this, right.
without negatively impacting
Impacting,
our K-5 populations.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's what Kelly wanted me to ask, so
Yep.
perfect. Go ahead.
Is it true, I'm not sure about this, that if you do go in-house, that we're staffing it with our own teachers?
Correct.
So that is also another shift in cost, right?
There's also the potential of us eventually busing them. Because I went to the New York Association of Pupil Transportation, their legislative roundtable last week. That was a genuine concern where districts have to start looking, because there are districts right now that are busing kids 3-4 years old.
Right.
So
So
that's going to be down the pipeline too.
there's a couple challenges with that. One, they're not funded.
Nope.
So they're not funded, number one. And if you don't meet certain weight requirements, there are
Yeah, they
booster
have to have
seat
car
Yeah,
seats, yeah.
How would we do
requirements
that?
as well, which creates a whole nother level of
Well, they also have different
Safety.
hours.
who's trapping those kids in seat. Yes,
Then you have to have more staff on your bus.
correct. So there's a lot of,
Moving parts to
yeah, and
this.
it's not that nobody wants to do it.
Right.
There are just a lot of
So-
logistical challenges to successfully doing this
All right, so we can
in
investigate
that
it.
time frame. But,
And
to have it as a
baby
goal
steps.
is a great goal to have.
Right, it's a
and
great goal
continue
to
work
have.
toward it.
Exactly.
Has to be.
Makes
I
sense.
mean,
Baby
it's
steps,
coming.
So-
Right, it's
The
like the
governor's
community
mandating
school,
this,
yeah.
it's coming.
Right,
It's
you know, it's just a goal to look at down the road, and we can start investigating now.
I don't think
Yep.
we have to put them in a building with heat, because it's a little cold.
It's really cool. Rebecca, is there
There's a
anything?
quicker way to do that.
It's a tactic to keep us awake.
Objective three.
Yeah, they're trying to get us out of here as fast as
Freeze
possible.
us straight out, sorry.
Get in your car, turn on the heat in the car.
Develop inclusive, accessible community spaces that strengthen belonging and engagement. specific create and improve indoor and community spaces across schools that foster connection, collaboration, and family engagement, including multipurpose rooms, outdoor learning spaces, family resource areas, and culturally responsive public spaces. And then question mark, brought up by Board Member Briere, facilitate joint BOE and Gilderland Town Meeting. Measurable, identify and design at least 2 priority community space improvement project by fall 2027. Increase the number of school-hosted community events using these spaces by 20% annually. Improve community perception of school welcoming list. I don't know if that's a word, I'm sorry. By 10% over 2 years via survey. Ensure 100% of redesigned spaces meet ADA accessibility standards. Attainable, utilize district facilities staff, PTA liaisons, student voice groups, and partnerships with local municipalities and the library board. Leverage grants when available. Relevant, welcoming, and functional community spaces support stronger family-school partnerships, increase community participation, enhance student belonging, and align with the district's community engagement and wellness priorities. Time-bound, implemented, and planned by fall 2026 with an annual update to the BOE. Inclusive and equitable spaces will reflect diverse cultures, languages, and accessibility needs to ensure all families feel welcomed and represented. And the person responsible would be the superintendent and the director of facilities and public relations.
I have a question, Mayor, about the BOE and Gilderland Town Meeting. Did you want to sprinkle in the library too, or no? Because I think originally that had been the, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you
Some
capture
of
that?
this,
Thank you.
some of this relates to some of the recommendations and what we've looked at for the upcoming continued capital improvement projects. So I'm sure that that might fall under part of that timeline. We'd have to hear more from buildings, on what the timelines of that would be. But I like that this stays connected to that, because sometimes, we collect that information and we set, look, all the work that went into that. It's nice to see a way of monitoring, like continuing to see that we're moving in that direction for those community spaces in the schools.
I would like to, just so I don't forget about it, Dan, can we discuss the possibility of adding the BOE town board and library board meeting to the next agenda so we can sort of flush it out before the school year ends?
A regular board meeting.
Yeah, to a regular board meeting. Thanks.
I do have a clarifying question. This is for actually creating community spaces within each building, correct? Okay, so because the PTA is, as now my PTA hat's on, is going to be limited because we do not raise funds for such, we can help with events, things like that, but
Yeah.
these are things the district should be, we will help implement, but
Makes sense.
What's the background on this?
Which one?
Like I heard you mention, Katie, I heard you mention that it's, that some of it stems from the capital project in that process, but is there more background information
Well, that
about why
piece,
we're?
we had many stakeholders who contributed to that, and I wasn't able to go on the tour, but board members went and looked at other schools, and one of the things that we heard from the stakeholders for schools and from students where there really there weren't a lot of space within the schools for them to bring like students together. In many areas, it was different across, if we could pull up the report, if you look at it, like it was different needs for elementary, middle, and high school, but a big part of that came from the report was that needing to have those spaces to bring the schools together as a community within the school.
Then,
And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna pile on, so also, like about 4 or 5 years ago, we noticed that there's sort of fewer parts of town, or there are parts of town that have fewer voters that turn out, right, for budget votes and elections. And so we looked into it further, and one of the things that was mentioned is that when parents or community members no longer have a student in the school, they don't feel that sense of attachment. And so the idea of public spaces, when we were building the pavilions and stuff, sort of came out of that initial conversation of, we need places where, even if you don't have kids, you can come and be part of the community, you can come to games, things like that. So that has sort of, that's the background for at least the public spaces piece for a while. It's been on our radar like 5 years at least.
I think what's missing in what we have here right now is the school community piece first and the community at large.
So you wanna, in order?
Well, when I read this, I don't necessarily see the students, the school community piece that Katie mentioned. I see the taxpayer community, if you will, which is fine. That's part of what, that's part of what we have services for. But I think it will help strengthen it if we can talk about the fact that the students had voiced, even if you can pull some of that data somewhere, right? That the students voiced the need to have more of these types of spaces. I know here the capital project for the media center for the library will kind of help address part of that. So in some ways, we're already down the road on this type of goal, but I just think we need to be really clear about what we're talking about when we go through these goals.
So what was the name of the fancy committee?
Of the what?
The fancy committee?
Future ready?
Future Ready
Future
Task
Ready
Force.
Task
Task Force.
Thank you. The Future Ready Task Force. One of the subcommittees for that literally looked into that, exactly what you said, and prioritized learning and community spaces where all the kids can congregate together, et cetera. So somewhere along the line, there was hard data. Where we can produce that for you at this point?
I will ask
You
the
have, you must have the
Just
future ready
something,
task
yeah.
force.
So I'm just wondering, should we just kind of group some of these things, community spaces across the schools that foster a connection, and then go to outdoor learning spaces, like have it more school-centered first and then the family? Because I think it's in there that we are talking about school spaces, because it says, right, the spaces across schools that foster connection.
There's also more to it too.
Yeah,
Like at the tree lighting, we had like the middle school band was there. And I think that's part of this too, is doing joint community
right.
endeavors,
I was just
right?
addressing what Peter was saying
I
about
see.
that it should be
Yeah.
directed
Yeah.
to schools. So,
But
I don't know how more specific, I don't know.
How do you want to break it down?
Yeah, I don't know.
I just think we need to have clear language about so is it community spaces across schools that foster connection between students, between the public, collaboration and family engagement, including multi-purpose rooms? That's a pretty like, let me rent and reserve space at your school, which athletically, we
Right.
could venture a guess that we
Yes.
do it, but it's probably pretty tight scheduling wise with all
Well,
the
and even
teams
this
that we
room
have.
gets rented out for like yoga and dance and
Right,
stuff,
so that's,
right?
so just making sure that we're clear on
student-focused
what are we
or
doing for the students in
community at
these
large.
spaces? Right, and the faculty and the people that are here every day, which is their main function. And then what are we doing to support the community with these taxpayer spaces, right? The other side of it too is that, Meredith, what I would say is that engagement, that community event engagement, I don't see here because I see spaces. So if that's something we need to add in, or it's a subset of objective 3, I guess my head keeps going to, here's an objective, and here's all the things that could be done underneath this objective. And that's where I go back to, what do the stakeholders see as ways to meet this that maybe we're not even talking about right now?
What about develop inclusive, accessible community ecosystems that strengthen belonging and engagement? Because then that would be inclusive of spaces and.
Oh, did anybody write that down? Could you say that again? Eco?
So instead of spaces as
Yeah.
objective 3, so objective 3, develop inclusive, accessible community ecosystems.
community ecosystems.
Just, because it's not just space, right? Like to
Right,
Peter's point,
right.
space, it's events, it's everything, so to be more holistic.
But I think maybe even just, I mean, because I'll be honest, I look at this and I'm like, we're already doing this.
Yeah.
But just because I know that doesn't mean that other people know it. Like, most people don't know that Farnsworth Library has a parent section. Same with Pine Bush in their community room. They have a parent book section, both of them. And they have family, yup, they do. And you can go in, yeah, see, blew the mind. And all, like, people don't know that if you want information on something, you can actually go and utilize these resources or talk to them. And so even like with the meeting spaces, like we now at every school, we have those outdoor meeting places that have like completely changed the game for events outside and having it's actually opened the door to more community events. And so I'm just sorry because I'm scanning as I talk about it, but I mean, I think that we also have to kind of make it known because we all know that if we want to go rent a room, we're going to we can contact the Guilderland Library and go get a room. We know as like, for example, a PTA, we know, oh, we have the book fair coming up, we better go call Kelly and go reserve the library rooms. But most people with their day-to-day who might have an event might not even think of utilizing the schools because they don't know that that could be an option. So I think a lot of it is even just verbalizing it and getting it out there too.
And maybe not in our district, or they've reached out to a district before, and the schedule and things is so booked that there's no chance that they could ever get it.
That sounds like something we should kick to communications too,
Yeah.
Katie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
And the other side of that is there are certain requirements about
Well,
who you are
yes.
allowed
Right.
Because that was
Yes.
going to
to
be
use
the
your
next
space
thing.
versus not.
Because
But
we
that
can't-
can be communicated as well, like, you know.
Because we can't just have people, I mean, it's a safety issue. At the end of the day, our first and foremost responsibility is keeping our students and our
Sure.
staff safe. So we can't just have people coming in during the day.
Would it
Right.
be possible to do like an online checklist that people could look at and, you know, like fill out a form? If you meet these requirements, you can do this, then we could communicate that online checklist.
We have it.
We do,
Yeah,
okay.
Yes.
Building use form.
For all, building use farm, right,
Then we
okay.
need to, that needs to be communicated better into the
Yeah,
community.
So I guess communications
I
definitely.
had no idea.
Yeah,
Learning, always learning.
Policy, no.
no, it's under communications, bro.
That's what happens when you're nosy. You learn everything.
I'd like to propose, to your point, Peter, and your point, you brought up the example of the tree lighting, that maybe we can expand that little, sentence that you put in here, facilitate joint BOE and Guilderland Town meeting, like sprinkle in the word activities or facilitate joint activities or participation in cross.
Community outreach.
something
Yeah,
like
because I
that.
read, like, the objective to me, the thing that stands out is the strength and belonging and engagement. And that's not just exclusive to students, right? That's like the whole students within the community with the schools, like, it's so much broader than just student spaces. I do think that now with, you know, the tech bands, it's really important for students to have places to communicate with each other during the school day and after, and have a safe space where they can actually learn about each other that's culturally sensitive, which then they can take into the community, right? I mean, the whole point of public schooling is to become a better citizen in general, in my opinion. So that belonging and engagement belongs both in the school and out. But I do think that it's important to define for our objective goals what those are going to look like. And maybe, I don't know if it needs to be a sub-goal or a tandem goal, maybe.
Well, and what are we already doing that meets some of those things? Again, having that information.
And what do we want to be repeating? I mean, I
Right,
think
what
that
do we
that's
wanna
also
keep doing?
something that we haven't really, some of these things are brand new, they've been done once. How do we repeat it and
Exactly.
make it successful year after year.
I look at this and I think this needs to be something that outlives my participation on the board,
Yep.
right? And I'm not trying to like boast or anything, but the reason that the middle schoolers played at the tree lighting is because I called Peter Barber last year and tried to start like some kind of relationship, and they were very receptive. They invited our students to sing last year. It didn't work out, but so then he remembered this year and reached out. And he's also been including, Bob Winans has been sending him like all the musical activities and opportunities for community members to come. The town offered to bus senior citizens to the Pops concert last year using the town bus.
That's nice.
And so there's this opportunity, but I think it needs to be in there somehow so that it continues on, because it's a really nice partnership that we have.
Yeah.
Just a question, and maybe I'm jumping the gun, but I think that civic responsibility is missing from this overall, from everything in here. And I do think there's room for it. I think fiscal responsibility is a significant role of the board in general, but I don't know if it fits as a goal. And I think that's why there's a struggle to find objectives that meet SMARTY goals in fiscal responsibility, because it doesn't match with it's not consistent. And if, like I said, if you look in other school boards, I'm pretty sure, it's pretty universal that fiscal responsibility is a significant goal for boards in general, but I don't know if it would fit as a board goal per se, but I think that civic awareness or something like that is something that would. Just a suggestion. I don't know if then we can bring in some of those points stronger as well.
Would that be a subset of Goal 1, Objective 1, implement the New York State Portrait of a Graduate?
I don't know. I mean, I think that
There's a service component.
it could be part of it, I guess, but I think that, because I think civic awareness is broad. It fits into communities. It fits into all kinds of different levels. I mean, it could be a subset of that. I think, but see, we have Portrait of a Graduate here under the achievement category. So if we're looking at the civics category, then it's not necessarily consistent.
But I think the civic engagement, the civic component is part of Portrait of a Graduate.
It is. It
Yeah.
definitely is. But I'm just saying, if we have it under the achievement category, do we consider civics and, you know what I mean, to be in the same?
Maybe we can ask our stakeholders to see where they would put that in? Or are you,
I put it in goal number 2,
Okay.
community engagement, because
Yeah.
it could be one of the strands
Mm-hmm.
of that, right? In and of itself,
okay.
because that would make them more active members in the community within
Mm-hmm.
the variety of things that are within our community, make that connection and make it a more consistent.
Yeah.
Great.
I also think that character could be another category that can bring in civics awareness, as well as the bullying component that I know comes up in health and well-being. I just feel like it's a broader goal than what we have. Like, I do think that character can stand for itself as well, and then wellness could be its own category as well. I do think we're gonna see overlap in many of these. I don't think it's any I think there's things, they can go in different components based on how you do it, but I just think that's more of a SMARTY goal than fiscal responsibility, which I think is important. I don't know if it
Yeah,
fits.
they also said at the school board conference that fiscal responsibility is our job and that shouldn't be a
Right.
goal.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say,
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
we have to be fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, if we're looking at this and if we're making 4 different goals, and obviously if we're in agreement about that, what would be the 4th goal, right? What do we think could stand on its own as a goal, right?
Did we finish objective?
No, I think we should
Oh, okay.
keep going, yeah.
I was
We're over.
confused, sorry, Nina.
No, I'm
Because
sorry.
I was
Like I
trying to
said,
think about how we could fit civic into objective 3, and I can't find a way, but,
What do you think, Dan?
It could either be goal number 2 or it could be its own goal. It depends on how extensively you want to separate it from goal number 2.
We could make it its own goal if we're getting, if we
Or you can make
decide.
it you can make it an objective of its own under goal number 2.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think that works.
Or we could do
It
goal
does
number
work.
4, promote the future-ready student. Objectives being, civic education and readiness.
yeah,
Word. Can we do this?
Opportunities.
That was great. Who's gonna do it?
that was good.
Did you take a note on that?
Did you capture that, Aaron?
I didn't capture that, no.
Can you say
say
that
that again?
again?
It's gonna be on YouTube forever.
Making
but-
a goal
Future
number
ready,
four,
future ready.
future-ready student.
Enhance.
And
No, just kidding.
So future ready student, objective, or goal
with a-
4.
With a civic
The
engagement,
objective being.
No,
civic engagement and service opportunities.
so that's the fourth goal, is that?
I think that would be subset though, because I feel like those are different objectives within the category.
Well, they are, but the goal would be the future-ready
Right.
portion.
By
but the
itself.
subsets are,
You had said.
but those are
What
not
did you
just,
say?
I
What
mean,
did you call it?
future-ready is all-encompassing. I think we would have to, not future-ready, civically minded is really where this comes, right? Like, which is a subset of future-ready, but
I think I'd lean towards a fourth objective under this second goal.
I feel like
Rather than a
future
fourth
ready and
goal.
student achievement are a little redundant.
yeah.
Or we could do, just objective, what is it, 4? Under goal 2.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's a smart,
Promote
I think that makes more
citizenship.
sense.
yeah.
Across,
Okay.
across buildings
I like
and
that.
generations.
Okay, enhance community engagement.
Is there another word, Dr. Scrabble, instead of citizenship?
Instead of
For
citizenship.
citizenship, civic mindedness,
Love, okay, thanks.
cultural responsiveness.
I think you
No, but we're
understand.
talking about civic,
Yes.
Responsibility.
civic responsibility, right? And civic engagement. But I understand about citizenship.
Global citizen.
I don't know, I
That's
just,
too broad for a
Yeah.
little district.
it's broad, but also
Yeah, let's not.
the citizenship piece
citizen.
is
It
triggering.
is, that's why I keep throwing it out there.
Wait, Tara, what's triggering?
The word
Citizenship.
citizenship.
It has other meanings
It
right
is
now.
for.
Something
Something happened
stewardship.
yesterday that was very intense that I never
Okay.
experienced
You can
before.
just call it
with
civic engagement, I mean.
Civic
Well, that's-
engagement,
yeah,
just
I
civic
mean-
engagement, and
That's
that's
really
broad.
We could also ask the stakeholders to wordsmith it for
Right.
us. Okay.
Just careful what you get with that, but yeah, you could.
I trust them.
I mean, they were all up at the Capitol today promoting it.
So
Civic
just-
engagement.
Okay.
So just
I
to,
sit, New York City.
Oh,
PTA,
okay, I got
ready.
scared for a minute, okay.
so we're putting
So
in
let's
community?
go back.
Is that what
yeah.
we're deciding?
Yes.
Yes. under
Community,
two. Yeah.
okay.
All right, so.
I like that.
Rebecca, you
Okay,
want
so
to
objective 4,
objective 4?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Objective 4, the one we just talked about?
yeah, so we're
Yeah,
good with that, right?
Yeah, so want to move on to the last?
yeah.
This one.
Thank you.
So the last goal, or
Yes.
the last goal that we have here. So goal 3 is promote health and well-being.
Sorry for my scribble.
Objective 1 is strengthen anti-bullying and positive school climate efforts. Specific enhanced district-wide anti-bullying efforts by strengthening reporting systems, prevention programs, staff training, and restorative practices with a focus on belonging, inclusiveness, and early intervention. Measurable, reduce bullying incidents by 10% annually. Increase student-reported feelings of safety and belonging by 10% on annual climate surveys. Ensure 100% of staff complete annual anti-bullying and DASA-related training. Implement at least one new evidence-based prevention program by 2026. Attainable, use existing counseling staff, social workers, school resource officers, and community partners. Relevant, a safe, supportive school climate improves academic outcomes, reduces chronic absenteeism, and strengthens community trust. Time-bound, updated procedures implemented by fall 2026 with annual reports to the BOE. Inclusive and equitable, and ensures anti-bullying supports are culturally responsive and address bullying related to race, disability, gender identity, sexual orientation, religion, and language background. And the person responsible would be the DEI director, the director of pupil personnel services, and the SROs.
I love that. I wonder if we can add in the last sentence there, culturally responsive, address bullying related to race, disability, gender identity, sexual orientation, religion, socioeconomic status, and language background.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of our bullying actually
Yes.
stems from that stuff.
Could this be a character goal,
Economic.
separate from wellness? Which would be like mental health and things like that to focus on.
I think it falls under here, like,
It wouldn't, I know when we discuss it at building cabinet at Farnsworth, they're two separate things.
Right.
Because we talk about character and then we talk about the well-being, like mental well-being and,
Especially, in my opinion, given today and what's going on with so many of our kids and our families. And also, if we go back to the community school model, there's so much there that lends itself to both those categories separately, right? Health in itself, what our families are living in or dealing with, things like that. I think that would be its own category as well, to make sure that their needs are met in that area, separate from the bullying aspect that we could also need to tackle. I think I see them as two separate things. I mean, obviously, mental health overlaps that clearly, but I do think they can be looked at in separate categories.
Well, yeah, I think you could do objective 1 and objective 2 with those under goal 3, right? And I don't disagree. I think it definitely, there's overlap, but they are two very separate goals or objectives.
How about our employees? Where are they in what we're doing here? And this, I think, is a good chance to maybe, I don't know what the wording is, I don't know what it looks like, but this is a category where I feel like we should have something that addresses the operation of the district employees.
Yep.
When it
Staff
comes
burnout.
to health and wellness. I don't know what that is. It
Absolutely.
could be lots of different things, but
Yeah.
I think there should be something there to show that, yep, we're gonna do all this for students, and we haven't forgotten
Right.
about all of you
Yeah,
too, because
yeah.
you're a super important piece to this
Yes.
yep.
thing that we do. So,
Definitely.
I don't know,
When will you
What
reach out
exactly
to
is that like?
GTA? Can you ask them to look
Yeah.
at that piece and make suggestions?
and maybe looking to see what other, if there's other strategic plans or things of that nature, boards across wherever
Yeah.
that might have something along those lines, because it is, look, it's hard for everybody.
Yeah.
Even those that have it together and are doing a great job, they still need to feel that support. And I think that
Absolutely.
that's an important, that personal connection from the board to
Sure.
employees.
It's interesting that you're bringing that up. I was going to bring it up tomorrow, but as part of our DEI, next week.
Okay, thanks, sorry. Just want to make sure I wasn't missing
I was
anything.
gonna say, I know.
I was like, what's going on tomorrow?
I meant next week. Sorry, I'm already thinking
This
about
is
next
not
week.
the first time you've done this stuff.
I know, sorry, nobody show up
Just glad I
tomorrow.
wasn't alone in that,
Sorry,
that's all.
I apologize. I meant next week. I'm a planner, so I'm
That's
already
okay.
thinking about next week. So we were talking in the research committee about, we did the climate survey. At this point, it's been a couple years, and there were some comments in there from staff that sort of speaks to how they're feeling, they're overwhelmed, things like that, right? And so one of us had proposed that, was it me? I think it was me. Okay, that we sort of reapproach that. We readdress that, and we send out a follow-up climate surveys, particularly in the climate that we're in currently, which is like very, very stressful, and see how our staff is feeling, if they're feeling engaged, if they're feeling supported, if there's, and then get this information and see what we can do, because we love and respect them, and they're part of the team, and we want them to stay. And ultimately, though our job is predominantly to take care of the students, right? Like, you don't do that without having a solid team. So, that's something we had talked about. We just started working on it. I was gonna bring it up tomorrow, but
Next week, don't
Next
worry, it's
week.
okay.
Tuesday, I'm sorry. I'm already like even thinking about graduation. So I was gonna bring that up. I know.
I got a long way to go.
I'm a planner. My to-do list is insane. But, so to your point, it would be great to have some data, and that kind of fits in. And I think it would be great if we find a way to put in our goals that we're continuing to look at that. It shouldn't be something that we just do sporadically. It should be something that we're continuing to the same way that we're checking the climate of our students and our families, definitely our staff. So.
And to that end, I'm going to say again that I think that health and well-being in itself is a goal for me. And I think that we look at character, we look at accolades, we look at lots of different things that can come out of that. Again,
It is, right? Number 3.
but instead of combining them into one goal. Because it looks like character is embedded in health and well-being, right? In the third goal, the way we have it?
Oh,
Anti-bullying.
I see what you're saying.
And I
Oh,
think that
okay.
character
I see what
stands
you're
alone.
saying, yeah.
in its own goal. And I think health and well-being are so significant.
I'm a little hesitant on that.
That's fine.
I think when I look at promote health and well-being, I think what we have right now for objective one is really super specific. And I think at least in the work that I do in education, we're continuing to focus more on positive education and positive psychology. And there are parts of character obviously in that, but it's much more about a holistic approach. And
Right.
I think that's, look, we're training teachers to bring these tools with them. And there's a lot of work we can do to help current teachers, right? But I also think there's pieces in here that are gonna surface when it comes to technology usage and, other things that we haven't started to talk about in these goals that will percolate up as we move forward. So I think for me, it's goal 3, promote health and well-being or overall well-being or, whatever it might be. Maybe that's a little too vague. Maybe it needs a little bit more information there, but I think that's because all these things to me fall underneath health and well-being.
I don't think character does. I think character is how other people perceive you, and that health and well-being is kind of how you see yourself. And so I don't think that character belongs in promote health and well-being. I think it needs to be woven throughout all the other pieces.
Again, I can only speak for Farnsworth right now, but we, like with character, it's built within the Farnsworth community. So
Right.
we no longer do P2. We are
Really?
currently focusing on the 6 pillars that when you walk in the building, it's right there. And it creates a community within those characters. But the character of the high school or one of the elementary schools may be different. I think that that's just something that's very specific to the school community, depending on which building you're in.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
Erica, why don't we have the stakeholders weigh in on that, where they think character fits? And then we'll talk about it more. What do you think?
I agree, character definitely fits across the board. Like, I agree with that.
Sorry.
I just sent objective 2 to the board for goal 3 about faculty and staff wellness, but not the character question, but just FYI, just so you can
Okay.
see using what people talked about.
Awesome, thank you.
You're so good. How'd you do that so
She's
fast?
I was just listening
She's
to you.
ignoring the rest of us.
So was that it though? Are we, where were we, Rebecca?
We're done with
We're
what
done.
I came
Yeah,
up
just
with.
refresh your email.
Okay. Well, I think we have, we've gone through everything.
Sorry, before you go.
I was just saying, I'm going to open it up.
Before it's tomorrow.
Are we?
Hold on, just real quick.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
get it, I
Sorry,
get
you
it.
might say what I'm about to, but go
I
ahead.
knew you were gonna, it's
Yeah,
fine. No, I was just gonna say, but it sounds like we have some action items and Dan's gonna follow up. And then how are we going to get back, how are you gonna communicate with us what stakeholders, what the comments are?
I'm just gonna send them to you.
Perfect, okay.
Sorry.
Nope.
It's not any more glamorous than that.
No,
When I get
that's-
the information,
that
I
is
will pass it on.
A-okay. Okay,
I will pass it
perfect.
on in an
Gonna get
update
up
to
on
all
the
of you.
loudspeaker.
Great, okay, sounds good.
As you go through the
We're gonna
parent
get that.
drop-off line of a certain day and time, you'll have to.
Okay,
Maybe you'll
Drive-through.
put a parka on and then open the windows so the snow can come into his office and he'll record something
I
for
didn't know
us.
if there was gonna be a
It was
presentation or what was gonna
Yes.
happen. Okay, got it. Just gonna give it to us. All right, and now I'd like to open it up for brief, important comments and questions. Peter?
So for this, we're going down to 3 goals, at least currently,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the financial responsibility is being
Our job.
dropped.
It's our
Our
job.
job.
It's our
Right.
job
Yeah.
all the time.
That's
It's
the-
not, it's our
The constant.
current
It can't be our
constant
goal. Yeah.
Right, okay, just wanted to make sure we were all
Yeah.
on that, because it was.
Was
a
that you that brought that
massive-
up? That was a good point.
I-
Was
All
you, your
Nina.
fire tonight, Nina? It was really good.
It was Nina, thanks for bringing it up, because then I remembered, never mind, sorry, Peter, I keep interrupting.
No, that's okay, that's all I got. I just want to make sure
Oh,
we're
okay.
all had a consensus.
And I
there,
was
that's
kidding.
all.
You have more to say, it's fine.
I really don't.
I was just kidding.
At least not right now, you know me.
If I didn't like you, I wouldn't poke
Give
fun
it
at
2
you.
minutes.
Maybe 3.
I think one thing that we can kind of just mull over is if we had a fourth goal. And you know what my
What would
vote
it
is,
be?
I think, at this point. But I think, I don't know. I'm not sure if 3 goals is
Enough?
the best plan.
Why?
I don't know.
There's some
Why?
pretty hefty goals.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're pretty intense. They're pretty,
A lot of objectives
pretty
underneath.
meaty.
Yeah,
Okay, we can think about it.
I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah, I mean,
Stakeholders will.
that's my
Yeah.
feeling on
Why?
that.
Yeah, why?
Because I think that, because I do feel that character is its own goal. I feel that way.
So if you could
And
specifically
I feel like
ask-
that's something that we as a district want for our students. And I don't know if it will be as amplified if it's in one objective or in
But-
here and there throughout different goals. If we really want to emphasize it as a priority, if we really want to emphasize that bullying is something we want to go against, then I feel like it needs to be stronger than in one objective, within one goal, my opinion, but.
I see what you're
But
saying.
I go back to what Kim said, though. I think that we need to find out from the buildings what they're doing, because I know GES has always had a very, very strong character education. Let me finish.
Yeah.
I just want to find out, like, what's going on, because if it's something, I don't know if that's something a board does. I don't know if that's an objective for us.
Is it, Dan? You have more experience with.
I think it's more of a building,
I think it's both.
but I don't think it should come from us, though. I don't know. I don't think so.
I think for me, the question is, does it need to stand alone, or is it, because is it woven in enough? And maybe we need to be a little bit more specific in where those things are
Okay, I see what you're saying.
emphasized. But it
Yeah.
is, I mean, when you look at, if we get to a final draft and we look at it, I think we'll be able to go, yep, it's there, it's
It's
there.
there,
It
it's
needs to be
there.
strengthened
Yeah.
here, or maybe we think it should be here, but we need to highlight it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think that's my approach
Yeah.
to it.
I think, Tara, to your question, I agree with you. It's not up to us to tell how the buildings do it. But I think we can set a priority for the district and then allow buildings to determine how they want to figure that out, right?
I see your point, Nina.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
get
mull
it.
it over.
I
And
think just
this isn't
as
final.
long as we're not just checking a box. Because
Right.
my whole thing is, it needs to be meaningful if we're doing this. And again, I'm gonna very politely throw out P2, where that in some buildings was effective. And then in other buildings, the kids didn't even remember what the character trait was the week before.
Right.
So if we're going to discuss putting it on as one of our board goals, then we want to make sure that it's something that's going to be actually meaningful in something where we're providing the schools that,
Actionable,
that need it with something that's actually meaningful.
And
True.
and if we can, not an add-on,
Right.
Yeah.
but something
Yes,
that
yes.
incorporates into
Yeah.
things that we naturally do as educators, right?
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Good point.
Okay. Well, I think this was a great discussion. We got a lot done, and we'll wait to hear back from Dan. Okay?
Tomorrow?
Nope. Next Tuesday. All right, so can I get a motion to go into executive session? Nina, second Katie. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.